All right, we're going to do, hey guys, we're going to do a quick refresh on distributive property and what that is and how we use it. So we start with some notes. It says recall that the distributive property says that A and then parentheses B plus C, and what we're going to be doing is, again, whatever's outside our parentheses, in this case the A, we are distributing it to everything inside the parentheses. So what we really see is this A that's outside our parentheses getting distributed or multiplied by our B. So we could see A times B. And then since there's a plus sign here, we're going to go plus. And then we do the second part. We take the A outside the parentheses and we do A times C as well. So A times parentheses B plus C equals A times B plus A times C. Note that we can't combine these terms inside because they're not like terms. So therefore, there's nothing more we can do except multiply and then leave it how it is. If we've got, notice the difference here in the second one is that there's a subtraction sign here. So first part stays the same. We're going to multiply A times B, but then we're going to multiply A times negative C or subtract C. Either way, the first part's the same. We're going to do A times B, and we get A times B. But then we're going to have to subtract A times C, or AC. And that's what we see here. So we look at example 1. It's 4x, or 4 times x, and 4 times 9. That's what we're going to distribute. So I'm going to start by doing the 4 times x. And 4 times x is just 4x. That's as far as we can take it. And then the second rainbow there is 4 times 9. 4 times 9 is, we'll write it like this to start with, because that's what we're doing. 4 times 9, and then since we can actually do 4 times 9, we're going to do 4 times 9, or 36. And that's where we have to leave it, because 4x and 36 are not like terms, so I can't add those. Number 2, there's a 7 outside, and then there's a k minus 3 inside the parentheses. So again, the 7 is going to get distributed to the k, and the 7 is going to get distributed to, how I like to think of that is not subtract 3, but a negative 3. So we see 7 times k, and then I like to just think of this as adding 7 times negative 3. Again, I'm going to put that subtraction sign and that 3 together. So then we multiply the 7k and we get 7k, and we multiply 7 times negative 3 and we'd get negative 21. And since we're adding a negative, we can just say it's actually subtraction. 7k minus 21. Now, number 3, we have the negative 3 outside the parentheses, so we're going to remember our rules for multiplication with the negative. So I've got a negative 3 times n. That's the first thing I'm going to do, negative 3 times n. And then here I'm going to take that negative 3 times negative 8. So when I take negative 3 times, again, I'm treating that subtraction sign as it being attached to the 8. So we have negative 8, negative 3n. And then negative 3 times negative 8 is 24, so plus positive 24. And number 4, again, there's a negative out front, negative and negative, so we're going to take negative 2 times 5x and negative 2 times the second negative 2, which is back there. So negative 2 times 5x is negative 10x. And negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, so we can just go plus 4 and leave it there. So the rest of those kind of work that way. I do want to point your attention to number like 14. 14 is, you see there's just that subtraction sign or negative sign out in front, and so we don't see a number, so we might ask, what am I going to distribute here? Well, we've talked about how the fact that that subtraction or negative sign is really saying there's a negative 1 there. So we could rewrite this as negative 1 times 5k plus 4. And then when we distribute, we're going to distribute negative 1 to negative 5k, so negative 1 times 5k, and that negative 1 is going to get distributed to that 4. So we've got negative 1 times 4. Negative 1 times 5k is negative 5k. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4, so we could go plus negative 4, or we could say negative 5k minus 4. Now, I do want to call your attention to, look what happened here. We had positive 5k, it ended up being negative 5k. We had positive 4, ended up being negative 4. With that negative sign out in front, really everything that's happening is the signs inside the parentheses are just changing. So if we look up above, we've got a negative. Well, let's just do another problem maybe. Say we had negative, oops, can't see that. So you had the negative, and then you had 3k minus 8. I could just look at this and say, oh, there's a positive 3k. Since we're multiplying by negative, the sign's going to change. Negative 3k. Oh, and here's a negative 8. I need to change the sign there, so negative times a negative, that's going to give me a positive 8. And again, all that we do is change the sign. Positive 3k goes to negative 3k, negative 8 goes to positive 8. Again, can't do anything more with that. Can't combine like terms there because they're not like terms. So at this point, you should be working on the next set of problems that are on the board. There will be on the board in a second. Work on those with your table mates on the whiteboards, and then when those are finished, you'll have some homework. I do want to make one more note. We saw all of our stuff in front of our parentheses. If we had 2k plus 5, but then we saw a 6 on the back side, we use the same property. We would still multiply here and here. We'd still have 2k times 6 plus 6 times 5. So 12k plus 30. And it doesn't matter if that number is touching the parentheses on the back side, or the front side, or the back side. The properties remain the same. 3k minus 4 with a negative 2 out here. Again, multiply here. 3k times negative 2 is negative 6k. Negative 2 times negative 4, positive 8. And there would be our answer.